And if you're wondering why people are talking about primarying me, well, it's because I don't take any money from AIPAC.
How does Laura Loomer get to be a Pentagon advisor, but you get primaried? Like, what is that?
This is a woman that can't even legally buy a gun because she has such serious mental problems. It's nonstop. Israel, nonstop.
Well, Tucker Carlson had Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene on his program, and they had a pretty interesting conversation about what it means to be MAGA, what America First is, and whether or not the Trump administration is living up to those ideals. And we're going to show you some of the highlights from their conversation, which I particularly enjoyed for a number of different reasons, which we'll get into. But before we get to that, Cenk, there was some clowning happening. They were clowning on Laura Loomer, and just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think this is an awesome development because it's not, oh, haha, they got Laura Loomer. It's that there's actual independent thought breaking out all over the political spectrum. And so in the old days, they would never break ranks. So if Laura Loomer said, okay, you have to do X, Y, or Z, everybody would say it. And why Laura Loomer? It wouldn't come from Laura Loomer. It usually come from Rupert Murdoch. But I mean, Rupert Murdoch is just an older male version of Laura Loomer. And Tucker used to work for Fox News, and they had to do all that propaganda, and they're sick of it. So, and guys, the reason why I predicted so long ago that some of the right would turn and actually agree with us on some issues as they're doing here is because of the infrastructure of media. And the reason I tell you that is not to just pat myself on the back, so though I'll take it. Okay, it's so that you understand how things work. So when you have to report to a boss in a multi-billion-dollar corporation, you're not going to have any independence. You have to do the talking points that Rupert Murdoch wants, or Jeff Zucker wants, or whoever it is that's running these companies. When you're on your own and you make a lot of money, as Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, et cetera are, or you're Marjorie Taylor Greene or Tom Massey, and you're raising a lot of money from the grassroots, real people, and not giant corporate donors, well then voila, you've gained your independence. So you're now more beholden to your grassroots, and that has downsides too, but I'd much rather have that because they're real American citizens. And you could actually think for yourself. You don't have to do the talking points that corporate media gives you. And that's why you're seeing this division in a healthy way, in a wonderful way, where they're beginning to go, wait, why are we for higher healthcare costs? None of my voters want higher healthcare costs. Exactly.
Okay, let's get to what she had to say about the phonies and the corruption within the Republican Party. And by the way, let me just preface this by saying there was plenty of criticism of Democrats as well. It's not like it was just all about bashing Republicans. So I'm under no illusion that Marjorie Taylor Greene is suddenly developing left-wing ideology. But with that in mind, here's what she had to say about members of her own party.
I can remember Mike Lawler coming up and saying, he hated Donald Trump openly, used to make fun of him all the time. And then all of a sudden, after Donald Trump won in 2024, he finally decided it was time to put on a MAGA hat. It just made me sick. Electing Donald Trump was a referendum on the Republican Party. And I very much feel that, because many times I hate my own party and I blame Republicans for many of the problems that we have today. And I blame them for being so America last, to the point where they are literally slaves to all the big industries in Washington, the military industrial complex, big pharma, health insurance industries, you name it. They are literally slaves to them, and they love the foreign wars so much. They get on board and they campaign and they say America first, and they try to utter and mimic these Donald Trump talking points. I mean, all these people that work so hard to give us the majority, when it comes time to doing that, what are we doing? We're sitting at home.
I mean, look, I can't argue with much of what she had to say. And what was really interesting about, and the portion I'm talking about, of course, has to do with the corruption. But I want to be clear about something. The reason why it resonated with me is because until very recently, I was a registered Democrat and had been my entire adult life. And her statements resonate with me because it's the same criticisms I've had toward members of the Democratic Party, right? And so I think people are kind of waking up to what the reality is in terms of the actual divide in the US. And the divide is between people who like the status quo system of corruption, essentially, and those who want to stop that, who want to root that out of our political system. And the paradigm of seeing everything through the lens of left versus right really doesn't make sense right now, because we kind of have to get back to basics. Like, our government doesn't function anymore, and that's an issue.
Yeah. So look, some of these fights, that was an interesting Freudian slip, start with MAGA versus MAGA. If you don't know MAGA, it's Make Israel Great Again. So there's tons of people that work in the US government who actually are loyal to Israel, including almost all of our congressmen. And Lawler is, of course, another one of those guys, overwhelmingly so. And they get literal money, campaign contributions, super PACs, dark money, etc. And they serve their donors. And so that's how some of this fight started, because at some point, some folks in America First realized, wait, constantly putting Israel first and America like eighth, by definition, isn't America first. And these guys are clearly serving Israel. It's not even close, right? We were saying the same thing about Biden, and now we're seeing Trump do the same thing, and Rubio, obviously, totally for Israel, etc. So, but I think the bigger, even more important issue than that is that it's the tip of the iceberg, and it's making them realize, oh, almost all of the corporate politicians, like 99%, or at this point 98% of the Republican Party and 90% of the Democratic Party. But you know what? You want to flip those percentages or have different ones, that's fine, right? So the other day I got a new mattress. My old mattress sucked. It had all these grooves, you'd fall into them, you couldn't get out. It was a disaster. So I got a Lisa mattress, love it. Finally some peace and rest. So I did their cute little mattress quiz. Even their quizzes are cute. Anyways, it turns out my favorite is a Legend Chill Hybrid. I'm not saying that that's an accurate description of my personality as well. I'm just saying. So I got it, I tried it. There we go. Love it. Now getting some peace and rest. You guys gotta check it out. Oh, plus they do really good things in the world. They actually have given away thousands of mattresses to people in need, and they help to clean our oceans. What else do you want? So this is the kind of win-win we love at TYT. Check them out. Go to Lisa.com for 20% off, plus get an extra $50 off with promo code TYT. That's exclusive to our viewers. That's LEESA.com. Promo code TYT for 20% off, plus an extra $50 off. Support our show and let them know that we sent you after checkout. Lisa.com, promo code TYT. But an enormous percentage of both parties are in the establishment corporate donor, foreign government donor category. And we're in the grassroots category, the populist category. And so the real fight is not between those two things versus left and right. Because once you realize, oh, wait a minute, once we get into the grassroots populist wing, left or right, we agree on so many things: lower drug prices, higher wages, lower housing prices, no more wars, no more corruption. Oh my God, we agree on like 70% of stuff. We still disagree on culture wars, etc. But it turns out they've been getting us into a fake fight the whole time. And so to see these former cable news anchors and current representatives begin to open their eyes in real time, it's an amazing sight, Anna.
Yeah, it totally is. Look, I love that you have this awakening happening in the country in regard to just how our politics actually works. Because once you realize how much rot there is within our political system, then it kind of like snaps you out of it. You can kind of see things a lot more clearly. You see how fake everything is, like how much of the narratives, the left versus right narratives in the country, not all of it is fake. I don't want to minimize it. Like, there's a real difference in ideology between the two sides, and that definitely exists. But the way the issues are framed and the way that, the power brokers in this country essentially pit ordinary working class people against each other and distract us with that as the big issues get dominated by either corporate interests, moneyed interests. You get the point. That's what really needs to be addressed here. And I love that Marjorie Greene is unafraid, undeterred, and she's still talking about this in the context of her own party. Because guys, if we don't hold members of our own parties accountable, then things are just going to keep devolving.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.